Buy your first rental property, there are basically three different things that can happen. First option is that you can list your own rental property for rent by yourself. Like you can list it on your own without hiring any professionals. Obvious upside to this is that you don't have to pay anyone for their services to list your rental property. The downside to this is that unless you have a real estate license, you cannot list it on the multiple listing service or the MLS, which is honestly one of the best ways to get your property out there and just have a lot of eyes on it and a lot of exposure. And the other downside to listing it by yourself is that you are going to be the one that has to go to the property to show prospective tenants the property, because like people want to tour the property before they rent it. Like you're gonna have to be the one opening the door, giving them a tour, talking them through any questions, all that jazz. Other option is to pay a property manager to do all of this for you. So like the property manager would create a rental listing, post it like everywhere, including the MLS, Zillow, apartments.com, all those platforms. They would handle all the showings. Like they would do the showings, or realtors who represent tenants would do the showings. Oftentimes what happens is that the first month of rent that your tenant pays you end up splitting that between the property manager who's listing your property and then the cooperating agent who represented your tenant. Like this is negotiable and it's always been negotiable. And because your property manager is like actively managing the property throughout the duration of the lease, usually also charge like a percentage of the rent every single month as like their property management fee. There's like a third option in between where like you can hire a real estate agent to list your rental property for rent, but then they don't manage the property. Like you would manage the property yourself, which means like you wouldn't pay that monthly fee to a property manager because like you're doing it yourself. But if you don't want to deal with like the headache of doing the showings, writing the lease, getting everyone's signatures on it, like that would be your real estate agent or your listing agent's responsibility to do. With the listing agent, you would have a conversation about compensation, about what you're willing to offer to the listing agent and the cooperating agent representing the tenant. I have a weird scenario where I'm a real estate investor, but I'm also a real estate agent. I have a real estate license. So because I have access to the MLS and all of that, I just list my own properties for rent and I actively manage my own properties. So I save money there, but because I do have the real estate license, I have all the marketing exposure of being on the MLS. And again, you do not need a real estate license in order to list a property that you own for rent. And if you like all things real estate and real estate investing, I'm your girl.